Hello there. This is my Germania cutlery, the Oxford razor. It's good German steel. Geometry on this blade is absolutely perfect. I took this razor back to a 4K. This is my Sobodani JNAT. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take this card. Now you can do this from a 1K, but there was no reason at all for me to go back to 1K on this razor. Matter of fact, I could have simply raised a slurry on this stone and refresh this razor in that manner, but got to cut my hand off. But I went ahead and opted for the 4K. This was a gift, this stone, from a very good friend. And it puts a scalding edge on a straight razor. You can already see the water is completely undercutted. The blade is completely undercutting that water, because the blade is perfect geometry wise. And you can tell, see how gray the slurry is? It started out white. So the stone is already cutting quite well. It cuts really well anyway. And people will ask all the time, well, how do you know when you're done? Well, a lot of it is from experience. I can feel the razor moving through the slurry and moving across the top of the stone. I can feel that this slurry is breaking down really fast. I can hear that the sound gets quieter. I can see the slurry darkening. Those are all signs that let me know how far along. I'm going to rinse that slurry off. I am in the honing process. I'm going to rinse that slurry off and create another, because that slurry is, to my hand, is not cutting. But you see how white that slurry is, and you'll see it go gray really fast. That's the nature of it, of this stone. It's a fast cutter, but it gives a very fine, very sharp edge. See how white that slurry is? As we progress, you'll see it darken pretty quick. I just ruined that edge. It's done. I hate when that happens, but it happens to the best of us. So, let's see if I can get the 4K to bring it back. I was putting quite a bit of torque on that razor. And it rolled up on the edge. That happens. And I believe that's back. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at that edge through a loop and see if I can see any kind of damage it might have done. Nope, it's alright. So I was able to say that it is, when I rolled it over like that, I could feel in my thumb, the flesh of my thumb, that, and I'm going to give it what for. I could feel with the flesh of my thumb that it was pretty much completely dull. What I did was I rolled the edge over. And a few passes on this stone straighten that out. That's one of the things you see people all the time talking about, well, don't use too much slack in your strop. You'll roll the edge. Well, if the strop is right, if you've got a good strop, it's not that hard to bring it back on a strop as long as you don't roll the living crap out of it. But right there, you couldn't have done anything. You couldn't have used anything harder unless I was using like an Arkansas stone. Excuse me, I'm checking the cut. You just couldn't. That's a very, very hard stone. So now what I'm going to do is it's time to start over. Sorry, but that's the way it goes. It happens. So let's try that again. That's good. So you can see the correction of an edge. Or a mistake, whatever you want to call it. But I was really torquing that edge. Actually, too much. I love this stone. You know, I probably say that a lot. No matter what stone it is I'm honing on, but I've found that the stones that I have work really well for me, and therefore I've grown to love every one of them. But a stone like this is special because of the person that gave it to me, and the fact that that person thought enough of me that they would send me an excellent gift like this. This is, you know, absolutely lovely stone, and it creates an edge that's absolutely lovely. Alright, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to rinse the stone, I'm going to rinse the blade. Now I'm going to go with one more slurry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work this slurry until it's almost plain water. And then we'll be ready to strop, and it'll be done. Now you can use Nagara if you wanted to, and I have, but the diamond stone, the little diamond card, and this, it kicks up slurry that's off this stone. There's no, you know, if I use a Nagara, that is, I'm getting slurry from the Nagara mostly, unless I have like a Tomo, a Nagara that is of the same hardness or harder than this stone, and then I will pick up, if it's of the same hardness, I'll pick up a little bit of this stone, a little bit of the Nagara stone in the slurry, and if it's harder than this stone, then it will act similar to that in the fact that it will kick up this base stone as slurry material. And for me, I love playing with the Nagara, but the Nagara takes a lot more time. This stone, the base slurry of this J-Nat, working the steel, the edge, until I think it's ready to go to that final slurry that we're at now. It's faster, and I think I get keener edges off of this stone in that way. Most of it though is, you know, you can't scientific, well I could get one of those little things that tells me how many foot-pounds it took to cut a little thread or whatever. They make machines that will tell you how much pressure it takes to cut with and all that, and they try to tell you that that's a gauge of sharpness, that, you know, first of all, most of those are not made for razors, so they're trying to tell you how that they know how to gauge the sharpness of a knife, and that scale won't have anything to do with how sharp a straight razor is. That's one. For another, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You know, if they had a machine that could tell you how sharp one blade is off of a particular stone versus another blade. If people didn't know what those numbers were, they'd put the razor up to their face, and the one that their face liked will be the one that they picked. The only reason that I say if they didn't know is because nowadays you got a lot of guys out there that, you know, they want to get all technical, and they want to say, well, you know, the sharpest is the best, and you know, so they would go, well, the machine says that this one is sharper, and so that's the one for me. You know, when shaving with a straight razor is such a personal choice that, you know, this might be sharper, but you might like the edge that comes off 12K Nano better than this edge. Or you might like a cuticle edge better than this edge. You might like another particular type of J-Nat better than this edge. A 1,000 different, or a 20K or 15K synthetic. Or a couple different other kinds of natural stones. So, you know, at the end of the day, what we like about shaving with straight razors doesn't really have anything to do with science or numbers or technical jargon or anything like that. It has to do with what feels the best for us on the face. At the end of the day, that is what trumps everything. And I think that's probably it. I want to look at this edge under a loop. Stand by. Yeah, it's got that hazy kind of finish that the J-Nats give just beautiful. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I'm going to try. So yeah, the razor is definitely passing HHT beautifully. What's it look like after I stropped it? Yeah, I think that'll be a beautiful shave right there. We'll see. Thanks for watching. Bless you. I'll talk to you later.